They say home is where the heart is. But what if your heart keeps getting broken in the very place it's supposed to feel safe? What if the people closest to you, the ones you trust, love, and keep returning to, are the same ones reopening your wounds? We're taught to believe that love is unconditional, that family is forever, that loyalty means staying even when it hurts. But there's a silent truth that few dare to say out loud. You can't heal around people who keep wounding you. Healing isn't just about meditation, therapy, or time. It's about space. Sacred, intentional space, free from the hands that keep tearing you open. But here's the trap. Wounds from strangers feel wrong. Wounds from loved ones feel normal. We become used to it. Familiarity wraps itself around the pain and calls it love. This is how the cycle hides. This is how it survives. You feel guilty for pulling away. You feel broken for not getting better. But maybe the truth is simpler and harder. You can't become whole in the same environment that shattered you. There is a weight you carry that isn't yours. It's invisible, but heavy. You feel it when you walk into a room and suddenly shrink, when your chest tightens before they speak, when you feel exhausted just from being in their presence. This is not imagined. It's energetic. Your nervous system is always listening, even when your mind is trying to pretend everything's fine. We mirror those around us. Their stress becomes our stress. Their chaos becomes our baseline. Science calls it emotional contagion. Ancient wisdom calls it energy transference. But either way, it's real. Healing requires regulation, stillness, safety. And you can't find any of that in a storm. Have you ever tried to meditate in a room full of shouting? To breathe deeply while someone picks at your every word? To rest while walking on eggshells? Your body knows. Even when your mind doesn't want to accept it, your body knows. Some people's energy is not safe for your healing, not because they are evil, but because they are unhealed. And the unhealed, often wound without even knowing. So why do we stay? Why do we keep returning to those who leave scars where there should be safety? Because pain, when it's familiar, feels like home. There's a term for this: repetition compulsion, a psychological loop where we unconsciously repeat the past, hoping for a different outcome. The parent who ignored us becomes the partner who withholds. The friend who mocks us feels like the sibling who never protected us. We call it love. But it's actually unfinished business. We aren't staying for connection, we're staying for closure. We think, maybe this time they'll finally see me. Maybe this time they'll change. Maybe this time I'll be enough. But healing never comes from those who won't even acknowledge the wound. In fact, the longer you stay, the deeper the cut goes. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." You are not fated to stay in pain, but you must first see the pattern, because until you do, you'll keep mistaking harm for love and call survival healing. There's a more dangerous wound than physical pain, the kind that's wrapped in kindness, spoken with a soft voice, and laced with guilt. You're too sensitive. After all I've done for you. Don't you care about how this makes me feel? These are not questions. They are weapons. Spiritual sabotage happens when people use guilt, shame, and love as chains. They don't hit you, they just keep you small. They twist your healing into selfishness, your boundaries into betrayal, your silence into punishment. And worst of all, they make you question your own reality. You begin to think, maybe it is my fault, maybe I am asking too much. Maybe healing means staying through the pain. But true love, real love, does not manipulate. It does not gaslight. It does not punish you for protecting your peace. It holds space. It listens. It lets you grow, even if that means growing apart. Never confuse control for care, and never forget you are allowed to leave, even if they call it betrayal. Leaving isn't weakness, It's a spiritual initiation. All throughout history, the sacred path began with departure. Buddha left the palace. Moses left Egypt. Jesus went into the desert. Rumi lost his teacher. Growth begins with distance. The sacred exit is when you stop asking others to change and start walking toward your own transformation. It's not loud. It doesn't need to be dramatic, but it is powerful. Because to walk away from the familiar, from the ones who shaped your story, is to reclaim authorship of your life. There will be loneliness. There will be doubt. There will be moments where you second-guess everything, but there will also be silence. And in that silence, you'll hear something you haven't heard in a long time. Yourself. Your own voice, rising from beneath years of noise. Your truth, no longer drowned out by the opinions of others. Your peace, finally, yours. Healing begins here. You've been waiting for someone to save you, someone to see you, to choose you, to finally offer the love you were never given. But what if the one you've been waiting for
is you? This is the part of the journey no one prepares you for, the quiet, sacred return to yourself. It's not about becoming perfect. It's about becoming whole. It's sitting with your wounds without judgment. It's giving your inner child
the love no one else gave. It's realizing that self-compassion isn't weakness. It's medicine. You don't have to fix everything overnight. You just have to stop abandoning yourself. In solitude, your nervous system resets. Your soul recalibrates. You start to breathe deeper, think clearer, feel again. And in that space, you begin to remember, you are not broken. You were just in places that kept breaking you. You are not too much. You were just surrounded by people who couldn't hold depth. You were never the wound. You were always the healer. And now we come to the truth that changes everything. You were never too sensitive, too emotional, too complicated. You were simply in the wrong environment. A flower cannot bloom in poisoned soil. A soul cannot expand in a space that keeps shrinking it. A heart cannot heal in hands that won't stop hurting it. It was never you. It was the space. And the most radical act of healing you will ever take is to leave. Not with bitterness, not with blame, but with clarity. You don't have to stay in rooms that silence you. You don't have to keep bleeding for those who refuse to see your scars. You don't have to keep waiting for people to become who they promised they'd be. You're allowed to walk away. You're allowed to grow beyond them. You're allowed to heal. Fully, loudly, unapologetically. Because healing is not just about wounds closing. It's about remembering you were whole all along, just in the wrong place. You can't heal around people who keep wounding you, but you can rise the moment you stop waiting for them to change and start becoming the one who finally saves yourself. They say time heals all wounds. But what if the wound keeps getting reopened every single day? What if healing isn't just about time, but also about space? And most dangerously, what if you're trying to heal in the very place where the wound was created? Some wounds don't show up on the skin. They live in the nervous system, in the silence between words, in the way your body tenses when a certain voice fills the room. They are wounds that bleed quietly, because the world has taught you to keep smiling. You can't heal in a battlefield. You can learn to survive there. You can even pretend to be doing better. But healing? That's something else entirely. Healing requires safety, and safety isn't a mindset. It's an environment. So why do we keep going back? Why do we stay in the presence of those who wound us, believing that it makes us strong? Who taught us that endurance is the same as evolution? Maybe the real question is this: what if healing isn't about effort, but about escape? Not running away from pain, but stepping out of the frequency that keeps recreating it. Pain is not just a memory. It's an imprint, a code written into your body. into your breath, your heartbeat, your reaction to the sound of footsteps down a hallway. Trauma doesn't just live in your mind, it lives in your energy. Have you ever entered a room and instantly felt uneasy? Have you ever heard a voice, and without a word spoken, your chest tightens, your skin bristles? That's not imagination, that's memory, encoded in the field of your being. The body remembers what the mind tries to forget. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." But what he didn't say is that the unconscious isn't just in you, it's in the space around you, in the people you allow close, in the vibrations you sit in daily. Some people carry frequencies that reawaken your deepest wounds. They don't have to touch